I think the main question, the fact that there was an adult kid involved in the transaction, and now the kid is clearly not complying with the terms of the agreement. I think part of the question is, I think the first starting point is, let's figure out what the question is. So let's, for argument's sake, say what happened here is there's a transaction where parents are the landlord. They have an adult child who's renting, I assume, a room or something else, maybe a flat, whatever, from them. And now the adult child stopped paying rent or is not complying with the terms of the agreement. What can the parents do? And the answer to that is sadly as exactly the same as you would do in a situation where the where it was a normal landlord-tenant relationship. So what would have happened there was you would place the child on terms, even if it's your own kid, you would place him on terms, and if he doesn't comply with the terms of the agreement, doesn't remedy the breach as it becomes necessary, and within the allowed time, then you cancel the agreement and evict your own child. I don't know about you, but I've evicted, sadly, so many family members. I think we evict more family members than just, no, we definitely evict more tenants, but non-paying tenants. But there's still a load of these where it's a parent-child relationship, or, you know, uncles and cousins and stuff. We need to evict. So you're going to do it exactly the same way. I think at this point, something of value for our viewers would be, remember, guys, even if it's your kid, your aunt, your oma, you, whoever, even if it's a family member that you trust with your whole life, contracts are made for divorces. We contract not because we think somewhere something is going to go wrong. We contract and we have it in writing because we know something, somewhere something's going to go wrong. And I don't say that because I'm a negative, pessimistic person. I say that because I've been a lawyer for 15 years.
Sure.
I think I've seen a few things. And I think importantly, even if nothing bad happens, people die. So say you have a verbal agreement between parties, one of them passes away, how are you going to prove what the terms of that agreement was? So if we keep things in writing, especially in between family members, you're still going to treat it exactly the same way as you would with anybody else. If, however, the parents were actually not the landlords, and my interpretation
sorry, just before you move on, just an interesting thing I wanted to throw in there. Agree with you that everything needs to be in writing, because especially with things like Huurgardverkoop, you'd actually want a lease in place in case for some reason you lose a property. What about throwing it in there, spanner in the works, duty of support? So it's an adult, but there's a duty of support. Now, you want to evict your child, rendering him potentially homeless. And yeah, he might claim that there's actually a duty on you to take care of him.
Oh, that's an interesting one. And I don't know about you, but when it comes to evicting kids, I very often see that defense. And the truth is, an adult child that doesn't have the ability to work and doesn't have the ability to earn an income. So for instance, a child that is mentally disabled, something like that, that doesn't have full capacity, definitely that duty of maintenance, it's a maintenance obligation towards your child, will remain there. But when you have an adult child with the ability to earn an income, it's a difficult thing to try and prove as a 42-year-old child, that your parents have an obligation to financially support you. I mean, I know there are circumstances where this happens. For instance, a child that decides at 42 to change career, but by that time, typically parents are elderly and probably pensioners, and the obligation to maintain and the duty and responsibility
actually swaps around.
So it depends on the age, and it depends on what's happening. I actually currently have a very complex matter in Durban High Court where it is exactly this, an adult child, but like a proper adult child, like close to 50, who is exactly using this as a defense. And I must say, I can't see that defense standing, because the parents by that time are proper elderly pensioners. So the duty of care actually then swaps around. If it's an 18-year-old kid that is still studying, I do believe there is an argument to be made around that. And I think for that reason, we need to keep these things in writing.
Sure.
So
I suppose the flip side would be, yes, there's a duty of support, but not necessarily you having to stay in your own place and me having to pay rent. So you want me to support you? There's a room at the back. Come.
Yeah, bring your mattress, Bookie. You're going to love it. And it's at that moment where a kid suddenly gets this new ambition to start a career.